Even what we eat, the food has an impact on your genes. Okay, so food can on or off a switch on the gene. Okay, so हमारे पेरेंट्स कब से बताते आए हैं कि ये मत खाओ वो खाओ. There is a reason for it, and now it can be proven with genetics.
Everyone, and welcome to Career Talks with Mentoria. My name is Julie Devecha. I'm one of the founders at Mentoria. Our passion is to help you discover yours, and through these webinars and talk shows, we want to make sure that we give you a realistic understanding of the career that you get into, because the more you know, the better you're informed about making the right career and educational decision. Today, we're going to have an incredible conversation on the world of genomics and building a career in it. We have a very special guest today, so let's please welcome Dr. Nitin Malekar. He has a stellar academic record with degrees in biology, clinical research, management and organizational leadership, as well as a PhD in genetics and human behavior. Dr. Malekar has accumulated close to 3 decades of experience in healthcare and education, and he's one of the current executive directors of the IJCP Group, where he's working on cancer research technology, specifically a solution for early detection. He's also focusing on medical and healthcare education initiatives to enhance the knowledge of the medical fraternity, as well as the general population, to make sure there's better healthcare for everyone. So let's get to know him and his amazing journey together. For the audience watching this video, Dr. Malekar, could you share a brief introduction to yourself and your work?
Namaskar. Well, I am a lucky soul, you can say. I am a knowledge seeker and knowledge worker. So I have been fortunate to work with some of the best organizations in my career. I have gained some 3 decades of experience working along with some of the giants like Reliance Industries, Factors Publication, POC Medical System, IJCP Group of Publications, Bharat Serums and Vaccines, and so on. So I have been also advisor to some very, very large organizations like Mumbai Coastal Road Project, MMRCL, Fortis Group of Hospitals, Global Group of Hospitals, Hinduja, GSK, USV, NMIMS, even IIMK. You might also know V School, which is into education space as well. So with respect of education, I have a PhD in genetics and leadership, and I have a management qualification from IIMC, IIMA and NMIMS. But fundamentally, I am a man of science. So I have a degree, master's degree in cytogenetics, and I specialize in clinical research and scientific event management. So whenever I talk about education, I believe in knowledge dissemination, which is the most critical front. So I am an external faculty for Princeton University, which focuses on the Asian healthcare and the medical and healthcare, for the medical and healthcare scholars who are placed in different geographies of the institute. And I am also expert on the National Institute of Pharmaceutical Education and Research, NIPER, Hyderabad. So I have been associated to various organizations and associations like Foxley, Federation of the Indian Society. I teach clinical research to the young gynacs, how to do clinical research, drug research. Also part of various PhD assessment programs with various colleges, and I am also on the board of studies of various universities. And one of the largest of women that is there in it. The first question which comes to my mind whenever people ask me about genetics is biology your favorite subject? That's the first question you have to ask yourself. Have you ever wondered? Basically, when I talk about genetics is a wonderful topic, wonderful subject. Have you ever wondered why your parents have green eyes or your grandma has brown eyes, and why your mother has black eyes, and why you have something else? Okay, so you may, even though your mother may have black eyes, you may have brown eyes. So these are the questions which needs to be answered. How do they answer? You can answer this question with the help of understanding what is genetics. So are you interested in the concept of genes, which is the fundamental of life? If yes, you should consider genetics as a career option. So we always tend to compare children to their parents, which is naturally what happens. किसके जैसे दिखता है? Do I look like a father? Do I look like a mother? No, he's taller like his grandparent. So that's what generally happens. These similarities between child and the parent or the grandparent has a scientific reason. That scientific reason is genes. Fundamental reason is genes, your DNA. Okay, genetics is a study of hereditary factors, so which gets transferred from the parent to their offspring, or the kids. Every child, every kid inherits certain traits with few variations from their parents, like hair texture, eye color, hair color, height, skin tone, skin color. So there is also high possibility that certain diseases and the disorders also get transmitted from the parent to a child through these genes. Okay, genetics is a study of such genes. It's the study of the distribution. How do they behave, their behavior and their structure in the human body. So I'm sure you have heard about genome sequencing, genome editing, you have heard about CRISPR, people keep on talking, media is talking about CRISPR. And you might be aware of massive genetic data which is getting developed. Okay, so when every person has a huge amount of genetic data which is stored and which gets carried from generation to generation. So this puts light on the increased importance of the field of genetics. Okay, the genetics is a study of, I'll say it is a study of mankind. Okay, and its importance is growing pace by pace, because up till now the whole human race was dependent on chemical drugs, but whatever had to be found have been found. So the tomorrow and today is dependent on genetics. Today is dependent on biotechnology, which is the fundamental factor, fundamental knowledge base of genetics. So whenever we study genetics, so whether it is genetics of a plant, genetics, every living being has genes. Okay, so whether it is a plant, whether it is an animal, whether it is a human being, every living thing has genes. And how do they interact with the nature? How do they interact with the surrounding? It's a science. How do they duplicate? How do they evolve? This is a science of evolution of genes. The world of genetics is brimming with opportunities for humongous career options. There are a huge number of career options. I would like to present a small video in the same effect.
I am the manager and co-director for the DNA analysis facility at MD Anderson Cancer Center. One of the exciting things about this next generation sequencing technology is that it's leading us into the era of personalized medicine. Every individual will be able to have their genome sequenced. And what the genome is all of the DNA in an individual. And based on their genetic profile, a physician will be able to recommend a particular medicine that works for that individual.
Today, I work for Sigma Aldrich. We are finding better technologies in order to help understand why our bodies and why the cells in our bodies behave the way they do. And that actually extends to, we're actually providing new technologies for drug companies, pharmaceutical companies to actually understand if the drug that they are going to be working with, if that's the right drug. Does it really do what they think it's doing in the body?
An assistant professor in biology and biochemistry at the University of Houston with dual appointments at the Human Genome Center at Baylor College of Medicine and the Department of Pathology. And what I do now is I'm basically a geneticist and a genomicist. Essentially what we have done is built a functional genomics platform that brings state-of-the-art genomic tools. Bioinformatics, this is a new field where you take computers to figure out what these large data sets mean, to put it together, and then functional studies to identify what I call tumor suppressor microRNAs. And these are microRNAs that are able to suppress the growth of tumors.
As the chair of the department, I basically oversee all the research in the department. It's all genetics, but it's all different aspects of genetics. And so there are some faculty that work on DNA repair. There are other faculty that work on the genetics of a little worm. So we do experiments in the lab. Every once in a while they work. They don't always work. But when it works, all of a sudden you realize that you know something nobody else does, and when you write that up and you submit that for publication, you're sharing with the world what you've learned.
I work in the biotech industry right now, and sometimes I teach at universities as well. I've done a lot of different interesting jobs, but they've all been based off of knowing genetics and molecular genetics. For anybody that likes to solve problems, they are puzzles, and if it's fun to solve puzzles, it is fun to do genetics.
The person who wants to, a student who wants to pursue genetics as a career, in today's world, the genetics is taught in the biology course from the beginning. So I don't believe that it only starts at master's level. So one can pursue genetics as a career by doing courses from bachelor's, master's and doctoral degree. Okay, genetics is a wide field and it has applicability in multiple fields like cancer research, newborn defects, nutrigenomics, which is the impact of food on the genetics. Okay, then DNA sample analysis and so on. So I'm going to talk about it at length in the future questions. Basically, the field of genetics allows you to work in medical as well as scientific research. Okay, there are jobs for medical technicians, pharmacists, even beginners, especially if you have the skills that employer needs, which is what we need to inculcate in the student. So there are some of the giants who have done wonderful work in the genetics. There are a lot of big names, from James Watson to George Church to David Suzuki. There are Indian names like Dr. M.S. Swaminathan. These are some of the best geneticists in the world. The concept of designer babies, which we keep on hearing, can we design a baby with the right kind of particular, you need a particular traits in the baby. I want a baby with the green eyes. The baby has to have fair color. So these are designer traits which we can actually inculcate in today's world. So can it be developed? What is the ethical issues which are related to it? So particular genes which are associated with particular diseases, can we study them? Can we avoid them? Can we deal with these diseases much better if we know about this genetic makeup of a person? So there are so many beautiful things which we can do wonders with this genetics.